I'll never be able to afford a house in Canada. That's the way many people are feeling, especially in markets like Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, and Hamilton, where there is an overexuberance of activity. There's multiple offers happening, there's overbidding, and the prices are just generally going up. And all of those things contribute to that feeling that you're not going to be able to own a home in Canada. And I'm going to tell you right now that that is not the case. There will be a time where everybody who decides that they want to own a home will be able to own a home, and I'm going to explain how in this video. But before we get into it, do me that favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and please hit that like button so more people like you can see this video. And don't forget about our race to 25,000 subscribers. We're halfway there, and we're going to give away $5,000 to put into somebody's RESP, RSP, TFSA, or to pay down their mortgage just for subscribing to this channel. So go ahead, click that subscribe button. It's free, it's easy, and it's definitely worth it. The definitive guide on how to manage your credit. Product, penalty, price, in that order. It's never been more important to get your mortgage right. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's discuss whether or not you'll ever be able to afford a home in Canada. And I'm going to tell you right now that absolutely yes, you will. If you take the right steps and you decide that home ownership is important to you, you'll absolutely be able to afford a home at some point in the future. And there's just a few simple steps you need to take to get there. But one thing that I want to point out right out of the gate is that low interest rates are what is leading to this exuberance in the market. And low interest rates mean higher prices because you can basically buy a significantly higher priced property than you could before and still have the same monthly payments. So a lot of the reasons why home prices are going up is because the payments are staying the same, but the amount that somebody can borrow is increasing. And that is what's fueling the economy right now and leading to a little bit, at least, of the recovery in housing prices. And on top of that, you've obviously got the increases in prices of lumber and goods, because obviously with lower supply of the houses that are mostly desired right now, you're seeing builders building more. And with the pandemic and lockdowns and everything else, it's been harder to supply things like lumber and steel and concrete. So you've got this scenario where housing prices are going up, but you have to remember that market cycles are temporary, and eventually things like the supplies that go into building a property are going to get cheaper, and eventually those housing prices are going to level out, and either incomes will start to catch up with housing prices, or housing prices will start to come down and generally level out. So first and foremost, absolutely, if you decide that you want to buy a house, you absolutely will be able to at some point in the future. And I've put together 5 steps to eventually being able to own a home in Canada, and this is the 5-step process. So it starts, first of all, with deciding that you want it. I remember a few years ago going down and doing some meetings with my mentor, Darren Hardy, and I remember asking him what makes somebody successful. And he said, I can't tell you what makes somebody successful, but what I can tell you is that they have 2 things in common. First and foremost, they make the decision to be successful. They just decide. They say, this is what I'm going to do, and they decide to do it. Simple as that. But the second thing that they have is they have the confidence and the audacity that when somebody tells them that they won't be able to do it, that they go into head and they do it anyways. And that's what's happening right now is people are saying, oh, housing prices are too high, the market's too hot, you'll never be able to afford a house. And I'm telling you right now that if you decide that you want to and you have the audacity to just go ahead and do it, you'll definitely be able to do it. And if you go ahead and you take a look at, there was a Canadian a few years ago who decided he was going to pay off his mortgage in 1 or 2 years. He decided he was going to do it. Everyone told him it was impossible, and he did it. It's all about just making the decisions and going about just figuring out how you can do it and putting an action plan together and following through on it. And that leads to the second step, which is make a plan. And I'm going to suggest that the place that you start to make a plan is by visiting a mortgage broker or talking to a mortgage broker or your bank and figuring out what you qualify for now and seeing if that is in line with the picture of the type of house that you would want to purchase. And if it's not, and if your credit's not in the place where it needs to be, or you don't have the income or you don't have the down payment, well, now it's really simple because all you have to do is set a goal of where you want to be and then figure out how to close the gap. And once you figure out where you want to be and what you have to do to close that gap, your mind automatically will start looking for opportunities for you to basically get from point A to point B. We see this all the time. We see it with brand new realtors who decide that they're going to be successful and they want to sell a certain number of homes. We see it with mortgage brokers who do the same. We see it with clients who decide that they want to pay out debt. I can't tell you the number of times that we've said to a client, well, you got $40,000 of debt, you need to pay it out. And we expect to see them in 3 or 4 years paying off basically $10,000 worth of debt on a $40,000 income every single year. And lo and behold, 8 months later, they've found a way to completely clear all that debt. Once people decide they want to do something and they have the audacity to just go ahead and do it, and they've made a plan, it's amazing what humans can accomplish. And this is true for purchasing a house. And then the third thing you need to do is get relentless about saving, because one of the things that comes to mind when we talk about people not being able to afford a house right now is the housing values have gone up, which means that the down payment values have gone up, or the minimum down payments have gone up. Now, let me put this in perspective for you, because to purchase $1 million home, you still only need about a $75,000 down payment. And if you have a $50,000 or $60,000 or $70,000 income, it is within the realm of possibility for you to save $75,000 in a 2 or 3 year period if you decide that that's what you want to do and you get absolutely relentless about your savings. And what that means is only spending money on the really, really, really important things. It might mean sacrificing the dinners out. It might mean sacrificing that extra bottle of wine at the liquor store. It might mean not going on that trip this year. But if you really, really, really want to buy a house, you can find the means to come up with a down payment. Now, obviously, $1 million home requires a certain amount of income in order to purchase that home. So for a lot of people, it may be out of reach from an income perspective, but that leads us to step number 4. And that is, if your income doesn't afford you the purchase price that you want to get, then go ahead and find a way to increase your income. One of my other mentors, Fred Zerkari, he gave me the best piece of advice when I was about 22 years old. He said, if you're going to work for somebody else, he said, the number one thing you can do is learn everything you possibly can from that employer in as short a period of time as possible. Make yourself significantly more marketable to other employers, and then jump ship and move to other jobs for either more and better experience or a better income. And the more experience that you get and the more income that you get, the more you become marketable for even more income. So the number one thing that people can do to make sure that they can afford a property in the future is to invest in their skill set and invest in being able to earn a higher income. And that may mean taking courses. It may mean jumping ship and moving to a different type of job that has higher earning power. But at the end of the day, if you can increase your income, you will get significantly closer to home ownership. And I'm going to tell you right now, just like Darren Hardy said, if you decide you can absolutely afford any home you want, whether it be a $250,000 condo or a $5 million mansion, you just have to decide that you want it and then go figure out a way to get it. The difference between you and the person that owns the $1 million property is quite simply that they decided that they wanted it and they figured out what they needed to do and go and get it. And once you figure out how somebody else did it, all you have to do is replicate the steps that they took in order to get there. It's really, really simple. And then step number 5 is adjust your expectations. So a lot of people are seeing that single family homes are now priced at $1 million and they're going, I'm never going to get into the housing market, because they're thinking that they need to go ahead and just jump into $1 million homes. Well, one of the things about real estate is you need to build. You know, guys who have 100 to 200 properties in their real estate portfolio, they didn't start by buying 100 or 200 properties. No, they started by buying a single condo or maybe a house and doing a renovation and doing some flips and adding to their portfolio slowly over time, and ultimately getting to where they have a significant number of properties. And getting to that $1 million home is no different. Maybe instead of thinking that you need a 4-bedroom house that's 2,000 or 3,000 square feet, maybe you start with that townhouse or that condo that's only 2 bedrooms and work your way up. And if you at least get in the market and decide that you're going to work your way up, eventually you will get to owning those bigger homes as your income increases, your equity increases, and your ability to make a bigger down payment increases. Now, I know that I have made this sound super simple and I have made it sound like it's possible for anybody. And some people think, well, that's not for me. I don't necessarily think that I can do all those things. And let me tell you right now that it is simply this. It is a decision. It's the decision to decide that you want to move forward and you want to earn a higher income, get a bigger down payment, and buy that property. And what may happen is when you get that bigger income and you get that down payment, you may decide that, hey, you don't actually need that bigger property. But if you just take those steps forward to creating the goal and then bridging the gap between where you are now and where you want to be, I promise you that if you are committed and you continue to move forward, you will eventually get there. So I hope you found this video useful. If you want to learn more about how to save a down payment, about how to qualify for a mortgage, about how to set yourself up to eventually buy a home, I do have a course called Homebuyer Bootcamp. It's in process right now. There's a link in the description below. It goes through all of the things about how to save your down payment, how to save it faster, whether you should be renting or whether you should be buying, how to qualify for a mortgage, the type of documents you need, how to select a realtor, basically everything to get you from wherever you are now to wherever you want to be. It is priced so low that I guarantee you anybody who purchases that course will get at least 10 to 50 times the value of what it's costs. We wanted to make it super low price and super accessible to get the best information, the type of information that Mortgage 360 clients get out there into the market. So I sincerely hope that if you are thinking about buying a home, or if you think that you may not ever have the opportunity to purchase a home because it seems like it's out of reach, that you go ahead, spend that money, take that course, and we'll help you get there. Go ahead, do me that favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, please hit that like button so more people like you can see this video, and don't forget about our race to 25,000 subscribers. I sincerely hope that it is you that wins and you can use that money to get one step closer to buying a home.